Imagine this. There is a version of you that you have never met. You don't show him to your friends. You don't discuss it with your family. You've become so good at hiding this person that, eventually, you manage to hide them from yourself. But here's the problem. While you were busy ignoring them, they were busy becoming the architect of your life. Every sudden burst of anger you couldn't explain, that was them. Every time you sabotaged a relationship, that was them. That deep, unshakable feeling that you aren't actually in the driver's seat of your own destiny, that is the shadow. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Today, we are going to stop calling it fate. We are going to go into the basement of your mind and meet the stranger who has been pulling the strings. Because if you don't face your darkness, it's only a matter of time before it decides to face you. But just because you can't see them doesn't mean they aren't there. In fact, the more you ignore this stranger, the stronger they become. They are the reason you snapped at someone you love yesterday. They are the reason you feel that sudden, inexplicable wave of guilt at 2 in the morning. Carl Jung, the man who peered deeper into the human soul than perhaps anyone in history, gave this stranger a name: the shadow. Most people spend their entire lives running from their darkness, thinking that if they run fast enough, they'll leave it behind. But here is the terrifying truth. You don't destroy the shadow, you only bury it, and what you bury eventually grows roots. Today, we aren't just talking about psychology. We are going to excavate the parts of you that you've rejected, because until you face what's hiding in the dark, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Think back to when you were 5 years old. You were a storm of emotions. You were loud, you were angry, you were selfish, you were brilliant, you were whole. But then, the world happened. Your parents told you, "Don't be angry." Your teachers told you, "Don't be loud." Society told you, "Don't be different." Every time you were told a part of you was bad, you took that piece of yourself and threw it into a basement in your mind. Your jealousy, your aggression, your weird desires, your dark thoughts. You locked the door and walked away. This is the shadow, the graveyard of your rejected selves. But the basement isn't soundproof. Have you ever wondered why you feel a sudden flash of intense hatred for a stranger? Or why you subconsciously sabotage a promotion just as you're about to get it? That isn't bad luck. That's the shadow screaming from the basement, demanding to be seen. Jung realized that if we don't acknowledge our capacity for darkness, we become its puppet. We become the very thing we hate because we haven't integrated the truth of who we are. We project our own hidden faults onto others, seeing enemies in the mirror of the world, never realizing the war is happening inside our own skin. But how do you see something that is, by definition, invisible to you? Jung found the answer in a phenomenon called projection. Think about that one person in your life who absolutely infuriates you in one or the other. Maybe it's a coworker who is too loud, a friend who is too selfish, or a public figure you find disgusting. Why do they get under your skin so deeply? Jung's answer is haunting. You don't hate them for who they are. You hate them because they are living out a part of your shadow that you have strictly forbidden yourself from expressing. When you feel an intense, irrational flash of judgment towards someone else, you aren't looking at them. You are looking into a mirror. Your shadow is pointing a finger at the very trait you buried in your own basement years ago. This is the ultimate survival mechanism of the ego. It's easier to point at the monster out there than to admit the monster is living inside of you. But until you realize that your enemies are actually your greatest teachers, you will remain a prisoner of your own judgment. This is where most people get it wrong. They think the shadow is just a monster to be caged. They think it's a list of sins to be purged. But Jung said something profound. The shadow is 90% pure gold. Think about it. To be polite, you suppressed your aggression. But in doing so, you also suppressed your drive, your ability to say no, your ability to stand your ground. To be likable, you suppressed your ego. But in doing so, you also suppressed your confidence, your ambition, your hunger for greatness. Inside your shadow is your true voice, the one you silenced to fit in. Your boldness, your creativity, your primal energy. It's all down there, locked in the basement with the monsters. The most magnetic, powerful people you know aren't perfect. They are whole. They have a presence that feels heavy and grounded because they aren't pretending. They have invited their monsters to the table. Mastery isn't about being a saint. It's about becoming an integrated human being. It's about walking into that basement, unlocking the door, and sitting down for a conversation with the version of you that scares you the most. So, how do you stop your shadow from controlling you? You stop lying. You start observing your reactions. When you feel a dark thought, don't push it away or judge it. Don't let shame be the lock on the door. Ask it, why are you here? What are you trying to protect? What part of me did I abandon to make you grow this large? The people who change the world aren't the ones who pretend to have no darkness. They are the ones who have looked their demons in the eye and said, I see you. Now, let's work together. Because a man who is incapable of being dangerous isn't good. He's just harmless. There is no virtue in being a sheep if you have no choice but to be one. A truly good man is one who is very dangerous, but keeps his sword sheathed by choice. That is strength. That is integration. Look in the mirror tonight. Don't look at your face. Look at the space behind your eyes. Look at the person you've spent 20 years or a certain number of years trying to forget. Are you controlling your shadow, or is your shadow controlling you? The answer to that question is the difference between living your life and watching it happen to you. The path to wholeness isn't a comfortable one. It requires the courage to walk into the parts of yourself you've spent a lifetime trying to outrun. But on the other side of that darkness isn't a monster, it's the rest of you. So, for the next 24 hours, stop running. Watch your triggers. Watch your silence. Watch the stranger in the mirror. Because you can only be free once you realize that the person you've been afraid of is the only one who can make you whole. Face your shadow before it decides your fate for you.